Davos లో ప్రపంచ ఆర్థిక సదస్సులో ఏపీ సీఎం జగన్ పాల్గొన్నారు. ఇప్పుడు లైవ్ చూద్దాం.
Wait for the problems to be solved before they innovate. The research and development pipeline, the level of access for children is not going to change unless we all consciously make an effort to put children front and center in the response. And there are a lot of new platforms that are being developed. There's a platform called GapF, looking at priority products for children, how to design differently, what does access mean, looking at supply chain improvements. But it really must include the primary healthcare system, the preventative element of it, treatment, curative, and the role of the caregiver. I think that has to be in the system itself.
Okay. I'm going to open up the floor for more questions. I can see a hand here and a hand behind me. If we can just get mics going so the questions can be asked. The lady over there had her hand up first.
Thank you so much, dear speakers. Should I stand?
Yes, you can. It's up to you.
Thank you so much, dear speakers. I'm Nupur Kohli. I'm a global shaper from the Amsterdam hub. We are young people between the age of 18 and 30 from the World Economic Forum. I also work for the largest healthcare insurance company in the Netherlands. So my question to you is, looking at healthcare resilience, what do you think is the role of healthcare insurance in many countries where it's actually not available? And I feel it's a primary human right to also have healthcare insurance in many countries.
Is there a specific person that you'd like to answer the question, or is it open to the floor?
I would like Mr. Johansson and also their Chief Minister to answer those questions, how you view that. Thank you.
All right, can we
okay, I think you're happy to. I think traveling around the world like we are, we have people on the ground in more than 100 countries, and we are selling drugs into 200 countries. It's very good to see the development in many countries, India, China, etc., where reasonable healthcare programs are being put in place, and mainly as a government effort. How to best combine those between private and government efforts, I think, is up to each individual country. Depends a little on how it's going, but it's beginning, to your point there on human rights. I think it's beginning to be recognized in many countries that this is indeed something that we need to do, and often needs government support. From an industry point of view, what we can do and will be doing is of course to be able to scale medicines. I think to your point on children here, there are beginning to be regulatory opportunities, even though markets might be small, to be able to get good IP protection, etc. All of those are important elements, I think, of doing what you're doing. But it's encouraging to see the number of countries, and large countries, that are beginning to go down the road of reasonable healthcare.
Okay.
As she rightly pointed out, this is a major concern. In fact, to address this, the country as such had, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, launched a program by name Ayushman Bharat. It's a more or less a combination of, it's more like an insurance part where the state governments are also involved in settling the claims. The funds come from central government, but it deals with 1,000 procedures or so. That is not sufficient, it's inadequate. So in the state of Andhra Pradesh, we have widened that scope, and we have come up with our own insurance scheme. It's called YSR Arogyashri scheme. I named it after my father because that's the kind of priority that I give to that scheme. So I just want it to be remembered, and I want to do a good job out of it. So what we have done is we've scaled the number of procedures to 2,446. From 1,000 what the central government supports, we increased that to 2,446 procedures. And practically we have distributed cards to 1.44 crore houses. And we've increased the limit for the eligibility of this card to income limit of 5 lakhs per annum. So anybody whose income is less than 5 lakhs per annum is eligible for this card. and 1.44 crores out of the total households of approximately 1.5 to 1.53 crores cards that households that we have. 1.44 crore cards are covered under this scheme. Okay. And last 3 years, we've helped almost 25 lakh people get treatment free of cost here.
We have about 10 minutes. We're going to fly through a few more questions briefly from the audience. The Executive Director of UNAIDS is in the audience with us, Winnie Byanyima. I think she would like to ask a question. If we can get a mic to her at the back there with the black head wrap and the red top.
Thank you, Zinga. Thank you, moderator. Okay. And thank you, panel. Mine's not a question, it's a comment. And responding to the subject you're talking about, I don't think that we're going to be on track to resolve a health crisis that turned into an economic crisis without tackling the inequalities that drive them. We are not health security strategies that neglect some people and protect a few privileged won't protect anyone ultimately. What do we need? We need debt cancellation, and we need to drive special drawing rights of the IMF towards developing countries so that they can have the resources to invest in health, in education, to end pandemics, COVID and other pandemics. We need, let me put it this way, debt repayments for the low-income countries in the middle of this crisis, where several times over they are spent on health, 9 times for Africa, 9 times more to debt repayments than to investing in health. This can't be a solution. So we do need to get rules of finance, rules of trade, and rules of tax, global rules, to work for developing countries if we are going to come out of a health crisis and an economic crisis. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I saw there was a hand here, and then there was also a hand there. So if we can get mics to both of the participants so we can do rapid-fire questions. We have about 6 minutes left for questions from the audience.
Thank you very much. My name is Sheila Patel. I represent Shack Dwellers International, which works with urban slum dwellers in 33 countries. I want to give you a message from poor women in urban areas, but I have many friends in rural areas too. We know that real health delivery, sir, is at subnational level. And I want to know whether all of you see value in leapfrogging into involving your populations in promotive health. You know, it's taken us so long to acknowledge that preventive health is important. But in today's world, where along with pandemics and debt and disease, we're also dealing with climate change. And as many people as you said were affected by famines are being affected with poisonous fast food and are facing chronic diseases at a level with